Today's episode is brought to you by Bravenly Hydrate, because regular water is just not going to cut it. And the main brand sports drinks got stuff you don't need to consume. So I recommend hitting the link in the bio and checking out Bravenly Hydrate. Lemon lime is my favorite flavor, but I recommend checking out more of Bravenly products. It's really great stuff for your health and well-being. So hit the link in the bio to find out more about Bravenly products. Welcome to Men Are Forged podcast. This is the podcast for men in their 20s and 30s who want to become great men. Today I have an important announcement that I have a new co-host, Bo Morgan, and I'm excited about bringing Bo in for us to discuss topics and address challenges that equip men to lead humbly and live courageously. So I hope we can encourage you to be more reflective and bold in everything you do and build towards a foundation of faith and leadership. Now for today's episode.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks again for joining Cartwright and I on Men Are Forged. This is episode 3.
Yeah.
But you and I have had like 500 episodes that we've had together before this.
It's in the ether somewhere.
Yeah, so Cartwright and I have had years and years of these kind of discussions where Cartwright's kind of helped me dissect a lot of what we'll talk about in this. But so what the first 2 episodes really kind of the core of what we're getting to is Christian young men in their 20s and 30s that are a lot like me and a lot like Cartwright in that you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus, you love Jesus, but you're still a little confused. There's still things in the world that, you know, maybe you thought growing up in church that, hey, I should kind of have this figured out because I'm a Christian.
Right.
And what we find is the world is a pretty confusing place, probably especially for Christians in a lot of ways.
Right. Yeah.
But just seeking some of the answers behind that. And we'll get super deep sometimes. Sometimes we won't be deep at all. But anyway, so today we wanted to talk about really what motivates us as young Christian men, understanding that what we think motivates us may not actually be the core of what motivates us, which can lead to a lot more confusion.
Yeah. I think there's something to, naming it that I think we don't, as men sometimes, there needs to be an evaluation of what truly deep down motivates me. We could say all the right things, the good things, right? Faith, family, and fitness. Right.
That's what I live by.
No offense to you, F3 guys. No offense, but I think that.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. Those 3 things are important. I'm not to knock that, but there is like, all right, what actually, what's the other one? God, family, and country.
Country.
That's right. Hey, these colors don't run.
Yeah. Appreciate
America. But no, I think naming it, claiming it. What is that's really motivating me in this area of my life, whether dating, business, career, financially, whatever, right? Why do I keep doing these things? Sometimes end up with the same result and not realizing, deep down. And so I'll tee it up a little bit, as I think some of y'all, I recommend you, if you're a social media person, following Arthur Brooks way back when. Arthur Brooks, because way back when I had 2 thoughts at once. Sorry, guys. It tends to happen.
Is he current present day?
He's a present day guy. And way back when, 15 years ago, I read his book. He's got famous being an economist. It's called Road to Freedom. Great book. I'm talking about really how capitalism has been the key thing the last 100 years that get people out of poverty. But he's kind of transitioned, and he's a professor at Harvard and talks about happiness. And he's a devout Catholic, and he talked about St. Thomas Aquinas, how when we really break it down, there's really 4 things that motivate us as men: money, power, pleasure, and fame or recognition. And kind of evaluating that, really what motivates us in life, that you can kind of put, those are kind of 4 umbrellas in my mind. What motivates you, that we all lean towards one of those 4.
What were they again?
Money, power, pleasure, and recognition, or fame is one way to look at it. because obviously we all know there's multiple levels of fame, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bo. I mean, there's so many ways we can go with this, but I mean, maybe start with my own personal story in some ways, right?
Yeah.
It's like you growing up in a very strong Southern Christian environment, there can be a lot of external things around that. When there's a strong culture, when you're in a strong culture, you generally go with the flow of that culture. You know, the world I live, and you similar is like, okay, the men that got the most, or the young men that got most of the attention were good athletes.
Yeah.
Especially football players.
Mm-hmm.
So I gravitated towards that. You think that, that's what's you could put language on it. That's going to save me. That's going to
give me recognition.
Make me feel, make me feel more secure, which is maybe a more money thing.
Yep.
Give me a level of control that because I feel lack, gives me a level of control. That's power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, or even pleasure. There's a level of pleasure in, obviously, I think in playing sports.
Winning.
Yeah. And you can chase that thing. And generally, a lot of times I look back on my life and you think, man, now I'm like, man, I'm really glad I didn't get that thing.
Yeah.
For sure. I would have been, for lack of a better term, an arrogant arse.
Yeah.
In case any PG-13 and under are listening.
Yeah. We have a big elementary school director. So be careful.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, arrogance will come in when you don't realize the thing that's motivating you. I have to become this thing.
Yeah.
Success in business, get this raise, be with this girl, right? X, Y, Z. When we don't name and claim that, like, that's an external, and generally external motivations don't work out. I mean, there's some people they make it happen.
Yeah, they're empty.
But there's an emptiness. I think a little bit what we talked about last time.
Yep.
But like when there's an internal driver, there's an internal prioritization of what really matters. The results don't even become as much an obsession.
Yeah.
They're not the piece on the other side of this fence, right? They're the internal piece that goes, okay, this is what I'm about. This is who I am. I've kind of in the midst of failure realize I'm not these things, so I'm going to stop trying to be those things. But what's going to drive me, right?
Yeah, I can absolutely. I've had. Mm-hmm. I'm 33 now, but I've had probably 4 or 5 different times that I can list off right now that are like things I'm really glad I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah,
like especially this is, I guess, talking specifically about career. Like I've had companies I've worked for in my 20s that, specifically like the tech companies, you know, or like, mm-hmm. man, if we can just get it big enough and sell it,
right,
then we'll be good. And man, I'm super, super thankful that God did not give me that, because I wouldn't be where I am today with the relationships I have today. And I probably I would have a really bad perspective, probably on the remainder of my life had I gotten those things. One of the things that I've really, and you taught me this, is the maturity that you kind of learn through your 20s and maybe even your 30s to say the prayer that requires so much faith in that, God, if this is not you, then I don't want it, even though I really do feel like I want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to head down this road.
Yeah.
But please, God, throw up a sign, a red light, a blockade, please.
And then at the very end, you say, but I really want it. So please. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I do that all the time. I really do.
Uh-huh.
I really do. And
it's wild. You'll meet people that's like, man, God let me have the very thing I wanted. And it was, and now I have a better perspective because I got it and I realized it wasn't the thing I really wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think going back to Arthur Brooks and even his mentioning Thomas Aquinas is like, deep down, these desires, these motivations, they are actually an internal quest for the divine, that we have something written in our DNA by the Creator to really want the things of Him. But those things get twisted, as we all know, the context of the enemy can't create anything new, so he just twists the good stuff, right? I mean, you see it with morality all the time, right? Being a good, I mean, I was going back to what I said about being in the Southern Christian culture is sometimes being that nice person, being a nice guy is like the chief motivation.
Hey guys, Cartwright here. Quick break. Sorry there's been some technical difficulties in the rest of this episode, so feel free to turn the sound up as you continue to listen to our discussion today. Also, if you get the chance, just go into the description and click the link support the show. It really helps Bo and I improve the technology, but as well as just do more to serve men in their 20s and 30s. So really appreciate it if y'all go into the description and click support the show. All right, back to today's episode. Living my life through the eyes of other people, how they receive me. Am I being clever, engaging? And then you could kind of have low grade, almost like manipulation. If there's a person that doesn't receive me well, how do I actually get them to? Yeah, it's like when they were just making a face.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me that can be how that actually is selfish.
Yeah,
because you know what I mean. It's like, well, no, I'm trying to please this person. I'm trying to please. Yeah. So that they'll like me. Well, you're doing it so that they'll like you.
Yeah.
Which is flipped. Like it's not the initial, but that is very interesting.
Which I mean, I think gets to the, speaking of, it gets the identity question. Am I living my life depending on how I think about myself according to how this stranger? Yeah. And I think, I think that's where I felt really convicted because I think that it got to the point where it was like the fruit of it was anxiety, depression, insecurity everywhere I went. Right. And I think sometimes for some people that leads to addictions. Like, hey, I can't be myself in this room because I'm constantly afraid of what other people think me, and therefore I'll drink too much.
Let me numb it.
Yeah. Which I've been there. Mm-hmm. But you get to the point where you really start that exercise to walk into a room. And this is something I had to really do and challenge myself in. If somebody didn't laugh, smile, or think I was the greatest thing ever, how can I just sit in the awkward, disappointment and going, that's okay. That's them. They could be dealing with something else. They could not be feeling well, or they just didn't like me. Yeah. And you know what? That's okay. Like you get 5 guys in a room and you can't, it's going to be hard for all of them to get along. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's just, and then I think what we were transitioning to is what's interesting as young dads is the thought of like, all right, now this belief system of, this child is an extension of me. Mm-hmm. How people perceive them is how they perceive me. Yeah.
So how can I make him the superstar in whatever he's doing?
Which I think there's a tension. Obviously, is okay. Yeah, I want my son to be polite, considerate of others, be present in anywhere he is, and not act a fool and understand the different context situations. Yeah. But then also there's you're like you said, like he is. How do I
elevate him above all the others? Right. In the way that people view.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. Where my identity is tied to how people interact with him, and you're like, ooh, that gets real gross.
So do you think all of that is tied to the recognition piece of what St. Thomas Aquinas kind of says what motivates us?
Yeah, I think
on that side of recognition in a way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, recognition where people leave. Maybe that was my motivation. People leave and go, that Cartwright, he's a great guy. You know what? And it kind of like reputation kind of thing. Yeah. Which is, I think, a little thing off of fame for sure.
Yeah. Probably get some pleasure from that too, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's interesting listening to Arthur Brooks talk about it. It's like we all kind of have all 4. Yeah. But there's one that we lean towards the most.
And there's situations that can hit more than one. Probably, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. He said something else interesting in there too that I don't want to go down like a super deep rabbit hole, but I just thought it was really cool how your desire for something more, like so in this case, everybody's motivated for some result, right? And so a lot of times that can be like, we can be confused by that because we're thinking, well, we're motivated to make more money, which will make me happy, or but really what we're looking for is the happiness. We're not necessarily looking for the money, even though we have to have money, but we're looking for that that thing that's tied to the thing that we're going for, which ultimately is all tied to our Creator. Like He's the only one that can provide those things. And he made a really good point. It was Arthur Brooks. That just the fact that we have that desire for something like that proves that there is a Creator.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, he used the example of if you're hungry, it proves that there's an existence of food because you have something in you that desires it. Which in this case, because you have motivation, it proves that there's something more, and that something more has to be a Creator. Anyway, super deep route there. I don't want to. We don't have to stay there long, but I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something. Excuse me. Yeah, man, that is a deep one that I think is. But I think it's neat. I think it is needed because I think you're right. I think there is like, all right. That's why I say evaluate it, because there is something redeemable. I think whatever you're really going after, but to your point, it can't be tied to that result. Because if you believe that happiness is tied to that certain result, then you'll miss it.
You're missing the point.
Yeah, you won't get it. It actually will be disappointment, frustration, even depression, anxiety. But if your goal is like you said, happiness, if your desire is to be, like, I don't know. A great context is like, all right, if it's money, it's like, all right, there's something about me earning, building, creating wealth. If at the end of the day, is there a peace that I'm looking for behind that?
Respect.
Yeah. So
identity.
Yeah, identity. Yeah. So like you kind of like, all right, if I'm in pursuit of that, I think that's what's going to get me that. Then why do I think that is what's going to happen?
Yeah.
We talked about it last time.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just like, man, that's so, how many people we know that are super rich, but like they're worse people.
Yeah. Extremely unhappy people.
Unhappy, It's like, I think I used the example of Brad Pitt. It's like, it's wild. I think many of us from the outside in think Brad Pitt's he's got it all. But, the guy went to rehab not too long ago, right?
That's going to be extremely lonely feeling when you get to what you think is going to, again, we said it last week, when you get the thing that you think is going to provide all the happiness and peace, and then it doesn't. Yeah. And then you're standing there by yourself because all the people that you cut down on the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a really miserable place to be, I would imagine.
Yeah. And I think we've been around people constantly, and they're just who are probably aware of that feeling, but they hadn't gotten to the place of, all right, let me try a different route. Let me try something different. Let me actually evaluate this. I would say one example that, as men, maybe stands out more than others, can almost wrap all four of these into it is title, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm working towards X title at X company. I've been here. I've paid my dues. And with the title comes recognition. It comes some level of power and control. And then obviously the money comes.
Yeah.
And even some type of like pleasure in it, But there's some, I think that's something to just kind of sit through and think about. It's like having letters next to your name, or, some like C-suite type, and you're just a little bit like, interesting. So I don't know. That's one that's kind of stood out to me that, I even thought as a young man, like, man, once, if that ever happens, then, the word we use is made it, or feel accomplished.
Well, it's funny how, like, so if you're, okay, so in my simple mind, like, you think about, well, how, how this all could affect performance, like in your job or whatever you're doing. And I was a football coach for years in my early 20s, and I coached in college for a few years and coached wide receivers. And the guys, I would have really talented guys that had a lot of skills.
Mm-hmm.
But if they played tight, or if they played for a certain result, or if they had a certain thing that they had to have, I had to have a certain amount of catches a game.
Mm-hmm.
I got to hit this yardage milestone or whatever.
Yeah.
They never got it.
Mm-hmm.
But once they let that go and just kind of played free and just said, hey, you know what? What's going to motivate me now, instead of reaching those goals that are selfishly going to serve me, I'm actually going to try to be a better teammate to the guys around me and actually understand how my role in this play affects the other 10 roles in this play around me. Almost every single time they would reach their goals.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's, guys in their 20s and 30s, and I'm certainly like the study piece for this is like, man, if you just like kind of gave yourself some grace.
Yeah.
And maybe didn't do it so much for the money or the pleasure, but you did it more for the relationships around you and for the fun of the process and the journey that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you would be, whatever that level of success is, I bet you would probably exceed whatever you had in mind before, with that being the primary motivator.
Yeah. 100%. Going back to the sports analogy, and of course, I think I've mentioned this before.
It's always going to be sports.
Going back to Last Dance, is somebody, I want to say it was a biographer or maybe his manager, somebody said about Jordan, like he was the most present person. Like the situation was never too big because he was so present in it. Like he just like showed up for the game day and it's like, cut loose. And
that's weird. I would have thought the exact opposite of
right?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been like obsessed with the result.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was so present. And I think that's a thought to really, going back to echo what you said, Bo. There's something too in your 20s like, all right, I'm constantly thinking about what could be next. When am I going to meet my wife? When am I going to make X? Or when am I going to get the raise?
Press.
Constantly. And
I did that.
It can create the thing that you don't want. Mm-hmm. And that's you're a nervous, anxious, burnout. I mean, that's where you get to the point where we have the midlife crisis, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, but I think, how do I become a more present person? I think anybody we've been around and we admire and look up to, they're probably more present.
Yeah.
They're there. They're like,
great listener.
I'm not looking around you.
Right.
For the more important, right?
Yeah. Have you ever been to lunch with somebody and every time somebody walks in, they're,
oh, God.
They do that.
Yeah. It's awful.
I probably did that.
I know I've done it, and some of it is my ADD where I'm like, do I know them?
Yeah. You can tell when it's not though.
Yes, 100%.
You can tell when it's just like, who else can I talk to?
Right. Yeah. Can this conversation is not going where I want it to go?
Right.
Or,
yeah.
Let me find somebody else.
Right.
How can I end this? Move on to the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's sad, but it's a real reality that unfortunately, man. Yeah, I don't know. There's how do we find? I think the right motivations.
Well, what advice would you give for somebody in their mid-20s that's just kind of confused? They're a Christian, and they're looking. They have the same things that we've been talking about, and it's all like those things can be good, like working hard and having a goal and trying to achieve those goals. We're not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
But when you make it the only thing,
yes,
or like when you make it the part of the equation where this is going to equal me being happy, I think that's where things can get messed up. So, what would you say somebody that's 27 and that's kind of confused in this right now?
Yeah, how do I get past part of it is understanding you and your personality and what motivates you, but also like, how do I get past thinking this is the waiting period? This is the holding pattern until I get to the place where I actually will be happy.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, God, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've
It's like
definitely
so
been there.
you go through the motions and you end up missing stuff.
Yep.
You end up not appreciating the relationships. You end up just how do I create a holding pattern where I'm just safe enough. And
Be where your feet are.
Yeah, be where your feet are. Yeah, it's a great line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. How do you really let, I hate to use the word destiny. That's not necessarily right. But yeah, in a sense of like, let destiny chase you versus you chasing it. You know? Yeah.
So instead of like my whole purpose in existence is to strive and meet these goals, so that I can be viewed a certain way, or I can experience a certain amount of pleasure, or I can have a certain amount of money. It's not necessarily that. It's, man, in my 20s, in my 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, how can I, in this meeting where I am today, or in this conversation that I'm having today, how can I add value to this relationship? Or how can I help this person? Or, and I know that sounds super churchy and kind of cheesy, but I think it's true.
Yeah.
You know, how can I really add value where I am today, where my feet are today? And that's hard. And I know that's been really hard for me. It's still hard for me.
Yeah.
Especially for young guys that are ambitious and want to achieve those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a great thought, and trying to find that balance, that tension is why we're having this podcast, this conversation, Bo, because it's a thing that you're working out your whole life. I think it's, giving yourself grace that you're not achieving the things you thought you'd achieve, but also just showing up. I mean, there's something really great and successful about people who are just willing to show up in people's lives, show up to work on time, do what you need to get done. But I don't know. I think it's some, I've talked about personality can influence this, culture can influence this. Sometimes it's like just even who you're surrounding yourself with. I mean, I know we're both millennials, there was like this motivation of like, the unicorn startup world of like, oh man, I can have the world-changing idea and become a billionaire, and you're like that mindset. Or I could, or man, I preach so good I could lead a mega church.
Yeah.
And it's all about, what is it, recognition, power, money, all those things, right? And thankfully I think this next generation has a different bent to it. They haven't seen that or been around that, or they see the flaw in it. But it is interesting. You just kind of like, all right, who around me is part of show me the 5 best people, your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you who you are, kind of thing.
Yep.
It's like, who is around me? Is it people who are constantly living that foot on the gas, constantly achieving, or is it people that are more present? It's like, who want to grow, be better in their career and their family and life, but don't obsess all their energy around it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I feel like a common theme probably for our discussions in this podcast is going to be, because I feel like it's true for Christianity.
Yeah.
It's constantly finding the tension in two things that are true.
Which I would say, most Christians aren't willing to embrace that. Yeah. It has to be black and white, because black and white is safer.
That's how,
it is safer. It's like, don't do this, do this. I mean, it's why people come out of, a very religious background and hate it, because it was so rigorous.
Yep.
Like, oh, no alcohol, or no,
no instruments.
No instruments. Yeah. And it's just like, wait, what about the Bible or anything you've read makes you think, know that, it's like, it's wild. It's wild. Like, or you're less than if you don't, if you had sex before marriage or something, stuff like that. It's just like, Jesus came not as a moralist. He came to pick apart the moralist culture.
which is
Yeah.
wild to think about.
Yeah.
The Sadducees and Pharisees, these guys that have this standard, and
Yeah,
Jesus
the moral
goes,
high ground.
it's like, and there's
That's all
standards
they
right
did.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, if you really, and he actually said it in Matthew 5, which is wild. If you want to be great in the kingdom, be better than the Sadducees and Pharisees. Meaning, they think they've got it all figured out by being black and white. Do this, don't do that, do this. But it's like, no, they don't. Because they don't want to live in the tension. They don't want to live in the unknown. They don't want to live in the, it's like advising a baby boomer who his kids are rebellious or left wing or atheist or something. And he's like, man, it's like I've heard this argument before of like, man, what happens if they come and we just end up, they won't listen to anything we say. And it's like, well, just have an ongoing conversation, be in relationship with them.
Right.
But I think so many people, it's like, we got to come to the finite end. It's like, well, a lot of this stuff is still being worked out. It's still in our, I don't mean as in truth is being worked out. I think that is established. It's being worked out in us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So coming to a conclusion, a finite ending is, or result, like we've been talking about with anything, is just a waste of time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I always had this like mental image of like asking Jesus, hey, is it this or this? And he'll just say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
No, you didn't answer the question.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so I would say what motivates you, I think one way to understand motivations is what's the fruit of some of those motivations. It's the way I've looked at it. It's like, does this, me pursuing this thing and being motivated for this, does it create anxiety? Does it create insecurity? Does it create a distance from the people I care
And it can
about?
even be something that started out with really good fruit, and then the enemy will kind of pervert it into something else over
100%.
time, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to provide for my family, right?
See,
I want to create a safe
That's a great
and secure
motivation.
environment for my wife and my son, which over time can turn into, I want more money.
Yeah. Well, that's not enough.
So it started with a good thing, and then ends with a bad thing. But yeah.
That's a tension that conversation I've had, that question. I think someone's asked me before. Well, what's enough? And I'm like, it's a great question. It's like, what is enough? It's like, well, I would just love it where there's an environment that my sons can grow up in and be thriving, and that's where you're like, what is enough? And so.
Don't have a good answer.
Yeah. So, you like the idea of more money. Is there more comfort and safety in that? Sure. But if that's my chief motivation, then it'll be the thing that ruins me, right?
And there's a tension.
Yeah, right? The thing that I'm doing for my family could take me away from my family.
Yep.
You're like, wait, this is who I'm doing it for.
Right.
Right? So
you probably look up and you're 55 and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
Exactly. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, Bo, but I don't know if anybody's seen I won't do a sports analogy this time. I'll do a TV entertainment.
I only understand sports analogies.
Well, crap. Well, never mind.
Try anyways.
You ever seen the show Breaking Bad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Walter White.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
Oh, that's a great example.
Something about the ending of that movie or that show that really just it's something led to this internal resolution in you. They're like, oh, that felt so good as a viewer, as a consumer of this show. Of for the whole show, he was. He'd bark at his wife. Everything I'm doing for this family. Mm-hmm. And she would just roll her eyes, and she knew it was disingenuous. And at the end, when he is going to do his last little, I'm trying not to make any spoilers.
If you haven't seen it,
come on, yeah. Anyway, come on, yeah. Well, he's going to make his last little thing, charge or right his last little wrong, but he goes to see his wife, and he kind of starts that same sentence, and the camera's on the wife, and you start seeing her just kind of roll her eyes and I just need you to know I did this. And he goes, I did it for me. And articulating that, that
sin, that driver, that thing that's like, I did all of this for myself. I said it was for this, but really I did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, that was something really, like, it was like so powerful. But I think it's just something about like what I started the episode with, like just naming that thing, and therefore, how do I then write that? How do I still live in that tension and try to,
or just at least know it's there?
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times we'll just like push it under the rug.
Yeah.
You know, and say, well, no, I really am doing the right thing. I'm trying to do this for my family. No, say it out loud. You're not. You're doing this so that you can feel better about yourself and get the respect you want and all these things, right?
Yeah. Whether money, power, pleasure, recognition. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's obvious to everybody else.
100%. Yeah. And that's where...
Except for us men. You know?
100%. And so when you can name it, I think that's where the invitation to the divine, to the Holy Spirit to convict you. Go, okay, how...
you're shining light on it.
God, how do you redeem this?
Yeah.
How did I get so far off track? How do I bring it back to something that you've called me to?
Yeah.
That's tough. But I think that's that continual conversation. I think...
Well, it's so important to have that conversation. Like, if you don't kind of massage that muscle over and over again, I don't know if it's weekly or whatever, but like having somebody to like... that kind of shares experiences with you, that maybe has some of the same experiences as you, is willing to bring it to light too, that you can kind of flesh it out with, is huge in your 20s and in your 30s.
Yeah.
Because we're all from the same place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We're all
Yeah.
seeking the same things. Men are not that unique, right?
Right.
I mean, we're not like, it's not like, I would imagine like for you guys that work in the center, like, like when you meet with a 25-year-old, you probably know
it's
what's
like 3 or 4
coming.
things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. And I think it's part of my job is to, like, I think so many people, they'll share their struggle or what they're dealing with, and they're expecting a shock factor, and you're just kind of like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. But it's maybe a good, like, call to action here, just to your point, Bo, is maybe move it, like, all right, yeah, who am I surrounding myself with?
Yeah.
That's maybe a couple steps ahead of me, who I'm meeting with regularly, whether that's monthly, quarterly, daily, whatever. You know, and then also my peers, somebody around me that we're both growing in that same direction. Giving yourself grace. That's probably a good one. How do I be more present on a daily and everything I'm doing, everything, you know, whether it's going to, you know, the church I go to, exercise, work, you know, I think, and then like, how do I put into practice a level of self-evaluation in my time with God or my time with others?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think is that kind of wrap it up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, So, and I'll say it, but the call to action really is to meet with somebody. Like you really need to sit down and guys like us early, finding somebody that really is versed in this and understands it and has had the conversations before, like you. Yeah. That like you can come sit with Cartwright for however long and just, hey, let me just kind of throw this against the wall, and then you help me kind of organize it in my brain. Because a lot of stuff, man, one of the biggest things I've learned from you, especially, I've never really understood the term of like, Bo, you need to give yourself grace. Because I'm always working in my mind, and this is more of like a evangelistic message, I guess, but it's something that I've needed to hear throughout my 20s and my 30s is like, it's not by works, it's by grace. Yeah. It's not by works, it's by grace. Yeah. Wake up the next morning, it's not by works, it's by grace. Ephesians 2:8. And it's something, it's a daily reminder, it's something that's fleshed out. But what you taught me was, hey, you've actually need to give yourself some grace. Yeah. You know, which to me was like, what do you mean? You know, I'm getting all the grace I need. I can be hard on myself because Jesus gives me the grace I need, which is a kind of a tormenting place to be when you're like, now I got to beat myself up because, you know, I'm not necessarily trying to perform for Jesus because I understand it's not by grace or not by works, it's by grace, but I can be hard on me. Yeah. You know, and that's a really unhappy place to be. Yeah. And it's really not fun to be married to. I would imagine my wife, like, she's like, you need to stop being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one. Like,
No.
it's
Bo.
guys that are ambitious and want to do things in their career. And
and we're not where we think we need to
somebody.
be. We're not at the place we think we need to be. So therefore, there's something we're doing wrong, and we're failing, and we're not measuring up. And it is. I mean, maybe another way to phrase it is some people say, preach the gospel to yourself every day. I mean, because it is the only way we can give ourselves grace is because He first gave us grace.
Yeah,
He is the one who poured out His grace on us. So then we can go, okay, I may not be where I want to be. What is this There's a cheesy line that goes with that. I may not be where I want to be, but I'm better than I was, or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
But that requires, like, I think that's a really great thought. Yeah. But it does require like coaching in a way, because you're not going to come up with that on your own every day. Like it's got to be. I'm sitting here with Cartwright again, and he's reminding me. Oh yeah, okay, I remember that I have to do this. It's got to be like coached into you.
Well, I think it's
consistently.
It's like I want to say this is a Wild at Heart thing. If anybody's read John Elger's book, that it's like a permissional thing. I think it's a permissional that we need from other men.
Yeah,
is that permissional of saying you're good?
Yeah,
you're exactly where you need to be. 100%. You're okay.
I know exactly. Yep.
If we try to do that within ourselves, it's just going to be a rat race. It's going to be.
Or even with your wife, my wife can say, you need to stop being hard on yourself. And I'm like, yeah, but I got to work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like I'm real smart.
I think somebody a couple steps ahead of you or older than you that's going, hey, you're good.
It's huge.
You're good. And that may be a psychological thing that. I don't want.
Which, for the record, probably in my early 20s, I thought that like a pitch like this, and it's not a pitch. It's like hey, you need this.
Yeah.
It was like kind of cheesy. Like, I've heard this before. Need to join a small group. Need to do all these things. Yeah. I've heard this in church my entire life.
Yeah.
You'll do it once, and you'll be like, okay, I need this very consistently in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you'll see how much it helps.
Yeah. That's good. So, I think that's where, sometimes I meet with, and I'm like, I wonder if I did this to you, Bo. It is like, are you showing up for your wife and kids every day? Yeah. Are you coming to work on time? Like, are you at least make an attempt to read your Bible on a fairly regular basis? Like,
you have definitely done that.
It's like, well, what's the problem? What's the problem?
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not doing enough.
And there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and
man, I know.
But there's like, okay, you can't internalize that thought to the point where you are less than. I may not think I'm not doing enough, which could be true. There could be some truth to it, but at the end of the day, now you internalize it, and it switches from guilt to shame, where it didn't tax your identity. Therefore, I am a less than because I'm not working 12, 15-hour days and grinding like crazy and earning and burning.
Another example of something that's probably could be good is working hard.
Yeah, it can be.
But if you're not ever going to be able to work hard enough, then you turn it into, well, I'm just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Which is,
God, that's interesting.
Yeah. Which that's
hits me right between the eyes.
Yeah, good.
God, dude. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Anything else?
Yeah,
I think we can keep going down this rain, but we'll get to it.
We got some meat in there for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Sweet, Bob.
Thank you for listening to the Men of Forge podcast. If you like this podcast, please check us out on YouTube or follow us on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen. Really thankful for y'all listening, joining me and Bo. We'll continue to have more of these conversations. And make sure you click the link in the bio to find out more about what we're doing here at Men of Forged.